Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and this week we're going to study the topic of prayer, more specifically Jesus and prayer. I'm going to show you how to use Logos to find everything in your Bible that Jesus said on prayer, taught on prayer, and even the prayers that he prayed. Let's begin by opening up our preferred Bible translation. The easiest way to do this is to type in the name of the translation, in this case NASB 95. You could type in KJV for King James Version or NKJV or any other of the major Bible book abbreviations. You'll see under the resource menu, open your preferred Bible. Go ahead and click that option. Now let's go to the same passage. What you can do is click in the Bible reference box once and then type in the following: MAT, the first three letters of the book name, space, chapter, in this case 11, space. Notice you don't have to put in that colon or a period. That'll be a great time saver. And then the verse 25 or verse 25. Now you can press enter or click the verse that appears below in the menu, Matthew 11:25. Great. So we're all here at Matthew 11:25. And the verse reads, "At that time Jesus said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and intelligent and revealed them to infants." So this is the beginning of a prayer by Jesus to the Father. And as I mentioned earlier, our goal today in this training is to show you how to find all the prayers of Jesus, all the teachings of prayer of Jesus, and any content related to prayer that Jesus cites or mentions or refers to. So how do we do that? Because there's not one single search you could run, give me all the prayers of Jesus. So let me walk you through a strategy by which you can begin to find all these. Now this is going to be a beginner to advanced training. We're going to jump into some pretty complex searches. But don't forget, you can always pause and rewind the video. So let's keep it simple and begin with the most basic search. Now let me show you what you need to do. Logos has added tags to your interlinear Bible. These tags help you find passages. Let me demonstrate. I'm going to right-click on Father. Now the menu opens up, and at the left we see a couple things. If we scroll down in the menu, you're going to come across Speaker Jesus and God Addressee. So what this tells us is that Jesus is the speaker and he's addressing God. Now anytime Jesus is addressing the Father, it's pretty much a prayer. So let's create a search where we can find all the passages where Jesus is speaking to the Father. Now this is a three-step process. Let me walk you through. We're going to click on Jesus, speaker at the left, and then we're going to choose Bible search at the right. And we can see Logos constructs the search for us. There it is, speaker, person, Jesus. But if we were to use all these verses, this would be too much information. So let's go back to our passage, right-click on Father, scroll down in the menu at the left, locate God Addressee, click it so it's selected, then once again at the right, choose Search Bible. Now here's every place where God is addressed, but again, too many verses. Now if we were to combine these two searches, we can get the results we're looking for. So what I'm going to do is right-click and choose Cut from the menu. And I'm going to close this tab since we don't need it. Then I'm going to click once in the search box to get rid of the highlight. I'm going to right-click and paste my search. Now this is pretty good. We could press Enter, and let's see what happens. Well, the search results have been greatly reduced, and it looks like every place that Jesus is the speaker and God is being addressed, we have those passages. So this is a great way to start off. Now, it's possible you may get some what we call false positives. That is, search results that fit our search criteria but are not exactly what we're looking for. But I think in this case, they're all pretty good. I haven't checked all 131 verses. This is our first step and strategy to find everything related to prayer and Christ. And what better way to study the prayers of Christ than how he speaks and addresses the Father in his incarnation. Now at this point, you can leave the search window open, or what you can begin to do is start saving these Bible verses so that you can later review them. Let me show you the easiest way to do that. We're going to click on the three dots at the top right of our search result window, located right here. Then we're going to choose from the menu, Save as Passage List. In a few moments, Logos will populate this window and give it a title based on your search string. I like that. And we're done. We can now come back to this list and we can keep each verse by leaving it there, or if we float our mouse, we can click the X to delete this passage. Great. Let me give you a second type of search that will help you find additional passages on prayer. Let's change our verse from Matthew 11:25 to Matthew 14:19. So click in the box, type in the first three letters, MAT, space 14, space 19, and press enter this time. Now here's an example in verse 19. Ordering the people to sit down on the grass, he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up toward heaven, he blessed the food. Clearly, he's praying over the meal. Now, we don't have the content of his blessing, but we do know this is his activity. So how do we find passages like this where the word prayer is not mentioned? Let's take a closer look. First, if we right-click on the word blessed, we can see in the left-click menu that Jesus is the person in the passage. So we definitely want to search on that criteria. So click person, Jesus, and then over at the right, locate Search Bible. So just like we did before, we're going to put 2 or 3 searches together to get our search results. Now this search finds every place where Jesus is mentioned in the New Testament. Now let's go back to Matthew 14:19 and right-click on Bless. Now this can be a little bit trickier and a little bit different. So we have in the left a Lohnidah number. Now if you're not familiar with that numbering scheme, definitely check out my 2 videos, Lohnidah Part 1 and 2, where I teach you everything you need to know about how to use and leverage these numbers for Bible study. But Lohnidah, in short, is a classification system. So instead of having a number associated with a definition like Strong's, Lohnidah groups these words together. For example, if a word has a sense to it, Lohnidah is going to classify it with that sense, not the literal definition. So let's click on Lohnidah 33470 and then choose Lohnidah Lookup here. Now the Lohnidah dictionary is opened up and the definition reads to ask God to bestow divine favor on, with the implication that the verbal act itself constitutes a significant benefit, to bless or blessing. Now if you look at the top here, if you have your locator bar turned on, you're going to see it's part of category 33. It's under the section C, blessing and cursing, and we're in the specific number 33470. If you click the hamburger menu here to the left of the reference, the table of contents opens up, and if you scroll down, you can see these categories. So right now, let me scroll up to the top here. We're in category 33, communication, and our specific passage using the word bless is in the C, 33.470 through 33.475. So there's these 6 words that have this context of blessing and cursing. So what we want to do is search on all of those at once. So instead of having to search on 6 different Greek words, we can search on a code. Let me show you how to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our Bible, right-click on Bless, choose Lohnidah, and choose Search Bible, just like we did before. But now we're only searching on that number, 33.470. We want to search on all 6 of those categories. So let's click on Lohnidah, and let's put in the full code. So if we go up to the C category and click on it, we can see the code range right here. So what I do is I just select it, and I choose copy. And then I go in here and I paste it right where the code was. And there we go. Now one more change we have to make. Since we're searching for more than one code, we have to change the equal sign into a tilde. That is that squiggly line just below the escape key at the top left of your keyboard. Now if we press enter or click the white arrow in the circle, now we can find all the passages that deal with blessing and cursing. Now like before, we're going to combine these 2 searches. So let's do that. So I'm going to select it, then I'm going to right click, I'm going to choose cut and close down the search window by clicking on X on the tab. Then click once in the search box, hit spacebar to give yourself a little room, and then right click and choose paste. Now if we did this search with Jesus and the Lohnidah, we're going to get every place where Jesus is the person and blessing and cursing is going on in the verse. But we want to take this one step further. There's a special command called intersect. Notice how I typed it between the 2 searches and put a space on either side, and it's all capital letters. Now right now we have 121 results in 30 verses. Go ahead and press enter. Now we've narrowed it down to 9 verses. So what we're looking for is where Jesus is the one doing the blessing or the cursing. and we can scroll down and see that pretty much all of these are blessings. So there's a second way to find more content on prayer. Once again, let's save this to a passage list. So go to the top right of the search window, click the three dots, and choose Save as Passage List. In a few moments, it'll populate, and we can review those at a later time to see which ones are relevant and which ones we need to discard. Let's go ahead and close the Louw-Nida dictionary by clicking here on the tab X. All right, you're doing great. Now we're ready to get even more complicated. So what I'd like to do is take you to the next passage. So let's go to Matthew 5:44. So let's click in our preferred Bible, type in MAT space 5 space 44, press enter. Now here we have, but I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. This is a pretty straightforward teaching by Jesus on prayer towards our enemies. Let's right click on the word pray and see what kind of options we have access to. So I'm going to right click on pray. And the first thing I want to do is scroll down, and I want you to notice this one, Event Life of Jesus, right here. So Logos is tagged throughout the Bible, the life events of Jesus. Within this tag, a lot of things can happen. So let's click on that event and click Search Bible. So Logos has created that search for us. Now, while that's working, let's go back to our New American Standard or our preferred Bible, right-click on Pray once again. Now, like we did before, let's click on the Louw-Nida number, and then over at the right, click on Louw-Nida Lookup. Now, if your table of contents is still open, we're taken to 33,178. There in 33,178 through 179, we have two words for prayer. But I want to back up a little bit to the previous category, ask for or request. Here is a whole bunch of words that could be used for prayer because a prayer is asking and a prayer is a request. But some of these words have nothing to do with prayer. For example, it could just be a simple request from one person to another. So what we want to do is search on these Louw-Nida numbers and then look for places where they've been translated as pray. This is a little more complex, but let me show you how it works. It's very similar to the last one with just a slight modification. So let's go back to our Bible, right-click on Pray, click on Louw-Nida, and choose Search Bible. So there's our Louw-Nida search. Now we have to modify Louw-Nida. So let's go back to Louw-Nida and include all these codes. So to do that, we're going to click on the L code, and that's 33,161. We're just going to grab the first one, choose Copy, and we're going to replace that in here. Now I'm going to show you a little trick, a little shortcut. I'm going to erase everything between the brackets and simply type LN tilde, since we're doing a range, space, and then I'm going to paste in that number, 33.161. Then I'm going to go to the next section, M, and the last number there is 33.179. So I'm going to click in my search box twice to get rid of the highlight, put in a minus, and then again, paste. I'll right-click and paste that number. So our range is Louw-Nida from 33.161 through 33.179. If we press enter, we can see those. So let's select that search criteria and paste it into our previous search. So I'm going to select it, right-click and cut, and close the search engine and return. Now I'm going to click in the search box once to deselect the highlight, and I'm going to hit space. Let's type in that word intersect like we did before, another space, and then paste it in there. We can do a Control V on the PC, Command V on the Mac, or we can simply right-click and paste it. All right, we're almost there, but we're going to complicate the search significantly, all right? So hold on. What we're going to do is we're going to add another special operator called and equals. All capital letters, and like intersects, we've got to have a space before it and a space after it. And let's type in the word pray. Now, this is a lot of information, so let's enclose it within parentheses, okay? So we put the whole search in parentheses. So left parenthesis, less than sign, Louw-Nida space, tilde space, the codes 161 through 179, right greater than sign, space, all capital letters, and equals, space, pray, and then right parenthesis. So we're looking for all the events of the life of Jesus that intersect these range of Louw-Nida numbers referring to ask and pray, and we want to make sure that those Louw-Nida numbers, when they're translated into the English, that they're translated as pray. Let's go ahead and press enter or click the white arrow in the circle to run the search. and let's see what comes back. Now this can take a few moments depending on the speed of your computer. And our search results are 41. So go ahead and click the three dots at the top right, save this as a passage list, and then take some time later after this video to go through and see which passages are relevant and which are not. All right, great job. You've done 3 pretty incredible searches, but there's still a couple more that we need to do. So let's take this one step further. All right, are you ready for the next search? Let's go back to our Bible and let's go to Matthew, M-A-T, chapter 26, verse 27, and press enter. And when he had taken the cup and given thanks, he gave it to them, saying. So he's not blessing, but he's giving thanks. And again, who's he giving thanks to? The Father. So let's create a search that can take this into account as well. So let's go ahead and right-click on thanks, and let's take a look at the menu at the left. Now, like before, we took advantage of the events life of Jesus. So let's click on that and choose Search Bible. Now let's go back to thanks, right-click on it, but this time we're going to choose a preaching theme. The preaching theme can be identified with the pulpit icon, and when you see a triangle next to it, click to expand. If we look through the preaching themes, there's one specifically called the Lord's Supper preaching theme. Let's click that one. Then choose Search Bible Search at the right. So what we want to do is combine these two, the life of Jesus intersecting the Lord's Supper. This is a complicated search, but Logos is doing all the heavy lifting for us. So once again, let's right-click and choose Cut, then click the X on the search tab to close it. Now we're back at the other search, Event Life of Jesus. Click once to deselect, hit space, and this time let's put in the plural form of intersects, which also works, and hit space again, and right-click and paste. Now we've got both of those in there. Let's go ahead and press enter, and let's see our search results. Now we only have 34 verses, but most of these are in reference to the Lord's Supper, and that should cover that aspect of prayer as well. Let's save these search results to the passage list by going to the top right of our search box, click the 3 dots, choose as Save as Passage List. Let's go to our next search. Now this next search is not for the faint-hearted. Let's go back to our Bible and type in MAT space 6 space 9. Here's what's going on in this particular prayer. We read in verse 9, pray then in this way, Our Father who is in heaven. So what's going on is the Father is being addressed. So when the Father is being addressed, usually some kind of prayer is being prayed. So let's right-click on Father. Now in the left menu, you're going to see an icon with a circle. This is the Greek lemma, or the dictionary form. Let's click that one. Now over at the right, you're going to see in the search a Greek word, an @ symbol, and some letter codes. Let's click that one. I'm going to click in the box just to the right so nothing's selected and hit the down arrow on my keyboard. Now what's going on here is a thing called morphology. Morphology tells us what the parts of speech are and what they're doing. In this case, it's a noun. But what's most important here is the vocative case. The vocative case, when you float your mouse over it, gives us the definition, the case that is used for direct address. In other words, the Father's being directly addressed. That's a prayer. So what I want to show you in this search, and this is an advanced search, is how to bring in morphology so that you can search for all the places where God is being addressed. So let's repeat this again. Let's right-click on Father. Then from the menu at the left, click the circle icon, and then locate search. Look for the Greek word @ symbol with the codes. Click that once. All right, so Logos has done again the heavy lifting and created this search for us. Let's click in the box, hit space, and then intersects. Now we need to finish this search, so let's go back to our Bible, right-click on Father, and this time let's choose Jesus being the speaker. So scroll down in your menu at the left, locate the speaker icon, Jesus speaker, click that, and choose Bible. Now let's right-click on that search and choose Cut and close the search result window. So we have the word intersects in the box, and then we're going to paste our speaker person. Now it turns out in this particular example that the search results did not change. They are the same with the lemma only and the morphological search, as well as with this intersection of Jesus being the speaker. But adding the intersect speaker person Jesus ensures us that he's the one who's doing the speaking. So let's go ahead and save this to the passage list. Therefore, click the three dots at the top right. Choose Save as Passage List from the menu. Wonderful. We got one more search to go. Let's return to our Bible and type in ROM for Romans, space 8:34 for verse 34. The verse reads, "Who is the one who condemns? Christ Jesus is he who died, yes, rather who was raised, who is at the right hand of God, who also intercedes for us." Now, this is a fascinating passage because it's referring back to one of the roles of Jesus Christ, the great high priest, the only mediator between God and man. So how do we add this to our search? So let's begin first by right-clicking on the word intercedes and take a look at our left menu. If we scroll down and look at the flags and the other items in the list, we have Jesus is resurrected from the death. Jesus dies on the cross. We've done those before. But if we go down a little bit further, there's death cultural concept with a triangle next to it. Let's click that triangle. And here we have the resurrection of Jesus cultural concept. So let's add that to our search mix. So we'll click on the cultural concept and then choose Bible. So this result shows us everything pertaining to the resurrection of Jesus. Now let's go back to our Bible, right-click on intercedes, and let's search on since. So we click on since, which is the fish icon, and let's choose Bible. Now, what is since? Since is Logos' equivalent to the Lounside lexicon. In other words, it's Logos' classification. So let's try a search with this rather than the Lounside code. So let's right-click and choose Cut. Let's click on the X to close the search tab. Let's click once in our search box to remove the highlight. Let's add our Boolean search intersects. And let's right-click and paste our since. And then go ahead and press Enter or click the white arrow in the circle. So we got back one result, Romans 8:34. Now, if you know your Bible, this is not the only passage where Jesus is mentioned as interceding for us. In fact, in the New American Standard, there's a footnote. And if we float our mouse over it or click it, we see that Hebrews 7:25 mentions the same concept. So let's see why this passage did not come back in our search result. So I'm going to click on Hebrews 7:25. So let's right-click on the word intercession. Well, first let's look at the since. And sure enough, there it is, since to intercede petition. So that's not the problem. Let's go to our cultural concepts, which is what we searched on earlier. We don't see the resurrection of Jesus. Rather, we see priesthood cultural concept. So let's click on that item and choose Bible from the search at the right. Now let's right-click and cut this, and let's click on the X to close the tab. Now what I want to do is combine both of these. The way you do this, you go to the front of the search and put a left parenthesis. Then you go to the end of that first one, the right squiggly, and put a comma, and then let's right-click and paste our last one. The comma acts like a or statement. So basically we're telling Logos, hey, search for the cultural for resurrection and the sense of intercede. Then search for cultural priesthood and intercede as well. Let's go ahead and press Enter or click the white arrow in the circle, and let's see if we get back to results. And we did. So this last search combines not only the cultural concept, but shows you how you can separate with commas to add more to the list. One last thought. These 6 searches will get you probably 95 to 99% of everything Jesus has said about prayer, taught on prayer, and actually his prayers. There's probably a few more out there that may require some additional search criteria that we just haven't had time to come across. By the way, if you're wondering why we did 6 different searches, this is much more manageable doing 6 searches and then looking at the passages one by one. If you did try to combine all these 6 searches, you'd run into 2 problems. First, mixing a morphological search with a Bible search will not work. You have to modify the morphological search so that it fits the criteria of a Bible search. So be aware of that, and we'll show you that in some future video. But secondly, if the search string gets too long, Logos will return 0 results. So you just can't string a whole bunch of these independent searches together. At some point, it'll be too much for the search engine, and you'll get 0 results. So be aware of that. So I know we went a little bit long today, but I think each of these searches shows you the possibilities are unlimited. That if you right-click on any word, look at that left-click menu. Look at the different items in there and combine those searches with other key ideas. And before you know it, you'll be able to limit your searches to target a specific subject or a topic, and you can get all those passages a whole lot easier. And by the way, without these tags, this kind of searching would be impossible. You'd be getting a lot of false positives or too many search results and spending more time looking through and eliminating the verses that don't apply. Before I close, I want to make you aware of a book I just recently wrote on prayer. It's called Reflect the Glory of God in Prayer. Reflect is an acronym. Each letter represents a principle of prayer. I studied all the prayers in the Bible, and it turns out they all follow this pattern of reflecting the glory of God in prayer. This book is available on Amazon, both in print, Kindle, and audio. But if you want to get a discount, you can order it directly from me. Here's the coupon code for the Learn Logos store.